Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today I want to talk to you about the books I've been reading over the last few weeks. It's been, I think, over a month since my last video, so it's been a while. Things have been a little bit busy, but I'm looking at my timeline for the next few weeks, and it's starting to slow down. Still very stressful. Just under 5 weeks until my PhD defense, but it's definitely, after this week, this coming week at least, it's starting to slow down and be just more manageable. So I'm really hoping that my reading updates are going to be more frequent, but it is what it is, as we say. So I really hope this video is not going to be way too long, but I want to just go through everything that I've read since the last time I talked to you. And then hopefully as we go forward, I will be able to do, hopefully I would like to do these updates every week. And then, I can go also more in depth with each book that I finish instead of just having to kind of hurry through what I've been reading because I have so many books to talk about. But like I said, we will just see how things progress or things evolve. But I read quite a few books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books since I talked to you last. I participated in Shorty September with 2 books. And I'm currently also participating in Victober. So Shorty September is reading short books in September. I think under 250 pages. And then Victober is reading Victorian literature in October. I think that's probably my favorite event. Even more favorite than Jane Austen July, which is almost sacrilege to say, but I'm really finding, and I found in the last few years that I absolutely love Victorian literature. It's probably my favorite time period for classics. Anyway, what I've been reading. So I read, first book for Shorty September was The Sorrows of Young Werther by Johann Wolfgang van Goethe. I think is how you say it. Goethe. I've been wanting to read this book. Like I obviously it's been on my TBR for a couple of years. Been wanting to read it. It's a masterpiece. I believe it's one of the first the first great confessional novel, it says. It's short, thankfully, because I did not necessarily enjoy this very much. So first of all, this is Goethe, right? This is a masterpiece. I'm not gonna give this a star rating because it's Goethe. Like, who am I to judge this, world famous classical master of fiction or like writing in general? And I can see the brilliance of this book in the writing, but I was just like, so it deals with suicide, and I've been kind of scared to read this book because I lost one of my brothers to suicide. And so everything that has to do with suicide is always a trigger for me. I read a man called Uwe last year and it destroyed me, but I think in a good way, in a healing way. So I was really scared about this one. But seriously, people, I was just like, in the middle of this book, I was just like, Werther, just go ahead. I'm tired of you. Like, oh my God, the whining, the feeling sorry for himself, the drama. Yeah, it went way overboard for me. Like I had no sympathy for him. I felt sorry for that poor lady he was in love with. But yeah, it's a very interesting read, and I mean, I think it's worth it to read it because you can really see. I mean, it's really interesting writing style. There are like letters. He's writing letters to his friends, and I think answering his friend, and because his friends are worried about him because obviously he's a drama queen, but yeah, it was not a favorite of mine for sure. But I'm happy that I read it. But the other book that I read for sure this September, 5 stars, is Claire Keegan's Little Things, Small Things Like These. I haven't seen the movie, but I need to see the movie now because this book was just brilliant. It's so good. It's like, I don't even know what I can add to this book, to booktube, because everybody knows this book. I feel like everybody's read this book, I feel like. But it's just it takes place just before Christmas, or at Christmas and around Christmas. And we have this man who is, deliver coal, I think, or something like that. And has like this little business that gives people coal for, to warm their houses. It takes place in Ireland. And I think in the 80s rather than 70s, so some like, and he's a family father. He has a wife and I think at least 2 or 3 children, daughter and son, I think. And it's been a while since I read it, so and it's just about him realizing that there is something not good happening at this school for wayward girls, basically. So girls who have gotten pregnant out of wedlock. And they are sent to this school that's run by these nuns. I'm sure you probably all heard about the Magdalene sisters and the huge scandal that shook Ireland a few years ago, or maybe decades ago, when it kind of came to light what was actually happening in these schools. Basically, there were prisons, torture places, really. A lot of the babies died. It was horrible. And anyway, so it kind of touches on that, but it also touches on complicity, people being complicit, because everybody in the town knew, or kind of knew, but they were like, let's not talk about it. They are nuns. We're not gonna. It's their business. But he didn't he did not agree with that. Let's just say, and I think that it's just dealing with like the dangers of looking the other way. When we see injustice happening, and we look the other way, because if we would speak up, the consequences could be that maybe something bad happens to us, or like we might lose our job, or we might lose our become like outcasts in our community or whatever, because people would like turn against us because we are speaking up for something bad that is happening. But we have to speak up. I don't know if I would have been as brave as this man. I hope so. But yeah, I think this is a very timely book to be reading, given everything that's happening around the world. So 100% 5 stars, 100% recommend if you haven't read it. It is very short, so it's very, but it's, I mean, Claire Keegan obviously is a master of a writer, and it's very Irish. It's like you can feel like this, it's like a gut punch, which sounds horrible, but it's actually really good, and a really mark of really good quality. And it's very literary and beautiful. And so if you read like literary fiction, this is definitely for you, for sure. It's probably, I'm assuming that this is probably what this is classified as, because I don't read a lot of literary fiction, but I would probably read more of it if it was all like this, because this is Although, I don't know, because it was a hard read as well. It was really difficult to read, especially because I could like think about everything that's happening today. So anyway, really good book. Really good book. Okay, the next book that I finished was Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. It's not up to Mistborn standard for me, but it's really good. Excellent world building, excellent characters, and so it's Tress who goes on a mission to save the boy she loves, and she gets kind of taken in by pirates, and there's like these oceans that are all sorts of oceans and like different colors, but they're not like water, but there are these spurs, and if you get wet, these spurs can like, or if they get inside of you where it's wet, they can like kill you, and it's really good. I did listen to it as kind of this cinematic audiobook, which was not my favorite. I mean, it was okay, but I feel that the performance it kind of lacked some emotional depth. I think there were some parts of this book that I should have been more emotionally engaged, but I wasn't because of the narration style of the audiobook. But I think definitely at some point, I think I may want to actually read it physically or find another audiobook, because I would like to have a different experience with it. But it was really good, and I'm giving it 4 stars. So definitely recommend. Really good, just standalone fantasy that's fun to read, and good book. Then the next book that I finished was an audiobook, and it's Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood, I think she's, yeah. This was really fun. I wasn't sure that, so Lucy Wood is a YouTuber, in case you don't know, and now an author. So I was following her on YouTube before she published this book. I think I was following her because they were like renovating their house or something, she and her now husband. And then I somehow saw a video of her again. I think I then stopped following her for a while, and then saw a video of her again, and she was talking about this book. And then, of course, everybody was talking about this book because he has a lot of subscribers, and a lot of people on YouTube BookTube were talking about it last year when it came out, and I was definitely interested. It's a witchy book, but I was kind of like, maybe she only got published because she's big on YouTube, on social media. But no, that's not, you don't have to worry about that. It's a really good book. I mean, it's a cozy fantasy, or kind of low fantasy, at least. It's like takes place in London in modern day, but it's like they're witches in a convent. And so the main character is under threat to lose her witchy powers when she turns 30, because she hasn't been using them properly or something like that. And so she has to basically go through these trials in order to keep her powers. And it's very interesting, and there's like this kind of, there's the enemy and like some dangers, but it's also still cozy, a little bit of maybe a love story, or at least a hint of a love story, and friends, a relationship between friends, mother-daughter relationship, grandmother-granddaughter relationship, and this kind of found family of her people in the bookstore that she works in. And it's just delightful and cozy and actually good as well. I gave it 5 stars. Like I was completely, I was very pleasantly surprised by this book, and yeah, 100% recommend. It was just a really fun read, and at least if you like kind of witchy fantasy. And I want to read. She has a second book out. It's not a series. It's like a standalone, but it's also a witch. It's called, I think, something Unwitched or something. And yeah, I definitely want to read that soon. I'm very excited about it actually, because I really enjoyed Rewitched, and I love the kind of play with words. But also it was really interesting. If you watch Lucy Wood on YouTube and you read this book, you can just almost hear Lucy, because she's somewhat sarcastic and kind of doesn't seem to take anything seriously, and that's definitely the tone of the book. So it was fun. It was a fun read. Okay, the next book that I started to read, but I DNF'd because I didn't like the audiobook, and that is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. So there were two reasons for why I DNF'd it, and I think that this is a soft DNF. I need to look more into I thought he was going to medieval England, but at least in the first couple of chapters, it feels like it's a simulation, because it's almost like a sci-fi. And I was just disappointed with that, because I was really looking forward to medieval England, not like a pretend medieval England. So, and then it was also like this multicast cinematic audiobook, and I didn't like it. I definitely did not like that. So this is a soft DNF, and I want to read it. I will probably just read it, physically at some point. But yeah, so I can't really say any more about that. Okay, now we come to the pearl of Victober for me. Oh no, not really, because I've read a lot of good books for Victober. But Victober, I love that, like I said before. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. I've seen this movie, like several adaptations of this movie, probably a TV series, BBC at some point during my life. I know the story, like, "Sir, can I have some more?" or something, whatever it is. Probably seen like the musical or a play. I feel like I've seen so many different adaptations of this book, but I've never read the book. I listened to it as an audiobook. I really like these. These are really beautiful editions, but I generally I'm not precious about my books. I will break the spine and like do whatever. But for like these kind of extra beautiful editions, I didn't want to read it. And also I just love audiobooks. So it was narrated by, I will put the name here because he did a really good job. And this book is fantastic. Oh my God, it is so good. I was concerned, especially in the beginning, that it would be too much of cruelty towards children, specifically and animals. And there is definitely a lot of cruelty towards children and animals, but it was manageable for me. And just the cruelty that he describes about like how poor people were treated back in the day, the hypocrisy of the Christians, it made me furious. And I wanted to just take little Oliver and just cuddle him and give him lots of food and warmth. And just, it was so heartbreaking how badly he was treated, that poor child. But yeah, The characters in this book are just, I mean, obviously there's a reason why Charles Dickens is one of the most famous authors out there. Like, I feel like for us here in Iceland, it's like Shakespeare and Charles Dickens. They're like, right? He is just, and he's influenced so much of the language and probably the literature as well. And there's obviously a reason for that. And this is one of those reasons, this book. This is the third book that I read by Charles Dickens. I have read one other book by him that I've read, like Great Expectations. I read it in high school, but I don't really remember anything from that. But I've read now Pickwick Papers and this one, and then Nicholas Nickleby, and they are, I mean, it's just perfection. It's perfection. Anyway, I'm sure you know the story of Oliver Twist, but he is obviously an orphan and who is under the care of the parish then he's sent to be an apprentice, and then he runs away to London and meets the very interesting character of Fagin. Obviously, I would say that there is definitely some anti-Semitism in this book, which is in the way Fagin is described. But then there are other people there who are just very, just disgusting, horrible people. Dickens is really good, isn't he, at describing horrible people. He's really good at that. But then there are also good people in there as well. So, very good. 5 stars, 1,000 stars. It's so good. It's so good. Next book that I read was Hester by Margaret Oliphant. I don't have it. This was an audiobook and I don't have it, but I decided to read it because it was the group read for October. Hester was a very interesting book. And so Hester is this young lady. She is, I think, 14 when this book starts, and then the majority of the story takes place when she's about 19. We get to know her when she moves with her mother to this town. They're basically desolate or like very poor because her father has died and basically left them with nothing, and they come to live with a cousin of Hester's father, who kind of gives them this kind of charity of living in this house. And there are these different characters. It's the Vernon family, and there's the Vernon Bank that is their business, and everything rolls around this bank and this. Oh my God, I can't remember her name. The cousin of Hester, Margaret? Yeah, Margaret Vernon, and who's kind of become this matriarch. And it is a book about misunderstanding and I don't know, just people trying to be kind, but other people misunderstanding them and acting as if they are being cruel, or just, I don't know. Hester, for a while there, I didn't like her at all. She felt like these, I don't know, maybe if I try not to go, like I haven't been on TikTok for 2 or 3 years now, but I did TikTok for a little while, and it was horrible because I felt like everybody was scandalized by everything, like, oh my God, oh my God. And that's Hester. She was so scandalized by everything. She took everything the wrong way. Like if anyone just looked at her, they must be judging her. If anyone just like walked past her, oh, they must be shunning her. Like she was so ready to believe that everybody was against her. And I was like, oh my God, somebody needs to shake that girl and just like get over yourself. I kind of started to really love Hester as the story progressed. And yeah, she was a fantastic character. This is such a really good good book. Excellent, the character of the different people and the plot. It was quite suspenseful at some point, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I feel that it's not like, it's a 4-star for me. It's not Dickens, Gaskell level for me personally, but it's a really good book and I definitely recommend it. Okay, so I'm almost done. Then, because I read Hester and I just like, I remember 2 years ago reading Cranford, or starting to read Elizabeth Gaskell, and I read Cranford, and I just decided to read Cranford again. As an audiobook. It is such a good book. It is just delightful. I mean, it is just absolutely delightful. Those ladies, and Elizabeth Gaskell I think she is probably my favorite author, to be honest. I think she has such a good way of the understated sadness, and like she's like in Cranford, for example, there is this there were these 2 sisters, and one of the sisters is very overbearing, and then she dies and leaves the younger sister alone in her, I think she was actually only in her like 50s, not her 60s, but she's made to sound like an old lady. I'm in my 50s, like. So, but anyway, and she had a possible marriage proposal when she was younger that she had rejected, probably because of her sister, but she had always regretted that, I think, and this man dies, and she orders a new cap for herself. Like, they always wore these caps, right? So she wanted this black cap that looked like this, that lady was wearing. And that lady was a widow, so she was wearing a widow's cap. But she didn't call it a widow's cap, but she wanted it to be like that one. And just that completely under the radar description of that lady's grief over the man that she loved died, that she wasn't able to marry because of her sister, that she was like a goddess to her. Oh my God! And there are several other of these instances in this story, and in Elizabeth Gaskell's, like North and South is probably my favorite book ever. Like exactly like that. Wives and Daughters. There are so many. You have to read Elizabeth Gaskell. She's so good. Cranford is like a novella, so it's not super long. It's about 150 pages, something like that. So 100% recommend if you want to read something short and Victorian, and you don't want to go into the bigger ones. You need to read this. Okay, and then the last book that I read was Round the Sofa. So this is a short story collection by Elizabeth Gaskell. Actually, there is My Lately Ludlove, which is in it, which is, I would say, a novella. I actually saw it on some list as a novel. It's quite long. I don't remember how long it was, but it was quite long. And then there were a few other short stories in there. I don't know. There was one, A Cursed Race, which was an essay actually on this group of people in Europe that were being persecuted and treated really badly. And I don't know if it's a real people or if it was a fictional people. I should have maybe looked that up. But it was quite horrible, like the description of how they were treated. And they had like this kind of yellow badge on their clothes to like so everybody would know that they were from that race. And, they could not, there were water fountains in the towns that they were not allowed to drink from the pure blood water fountains. They could only drink from water fountains that were for them. So I'm like, okay, obviously she wrote this like 150 years ago or something, 130 years ago. And I'm just like, what? Yeah, it was really good. And then there were a couple of other stories that were okay. The last short story is called The Half Brothers, and it was just a story about half brothers, but it was so lovely. And there was a little dog in there that takes place in Scotland. So there was what is it called? Not a border collie, but the other Scottish dog called Lassie. I don't know if have you seen Lassie, the movie, or the movies, or the TV show, or whatever it was that we used to watch in the 80s? Lassie, go home, or whatever, when they were like saving someone who fell down a well, I think. I'm like, oh, Lassie! That was fun. And that dog was definitely also someone that saved someone. So, yeah, that was interesting. I mean, it was hit or miss. There were a couple of stories there that weren't necessarily my favorite. I'm not always a fan of Elizabeth Gaskell's short stories, I've found out. I read a lot of her short stories last year, and they were also kind of hit or miss. But Cranford, yeah. I did not necessarily like Lady Ludlow that much. It was okay. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. It's been a long video. So I did tell you that in last video that I was going to start in A Day of the Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. But I actually decided that I'm going to keep it until December. I think I'm gonna take it with me for Christmas, and this is a book I think is perfect to read for December. December is fantasy for me. I always read Lord of the Rings or watch the Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit in December. So I think this is gonna be a perfect December read. So what I am currently reading, and I'm just gonna say super short, is finally I'm reading Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. And I'm doing it through YouTube. The audiobook is on YouTube. It's a little bit more tricky because in my audiobook app I can like time. So if I'm like reading it, I can put on the timer. So if I'm reading it when I'm going to sleep, I can put it on, like a 15-minute or half an hour timer, so it will turn off when I fall asleep, like if I'm already fallen asleep. They don't have that in YouTube, so I haven't been able to read it or listen to it as I'm going to sleep. Or like I will listen to it, and then I will turn it off. And that's not my favorite way to fall asleep. I like to fall asleep with an audiobook playing. But anyway, so far enjoying it. I'm just like a few chapters in. Mary Barton's mother has just gone into pains for I don't know how many children she already has. So just starting to read it, but liking it already. And the other book then that I'm just going to start to read it today actually is a Finnish book. So this is the sequel to Hildur, or this book, by Satu Rämö. She's a Finnish author, and this is a thriller, and I loved her other book, and this one has gotten really good. People are really liking this one as well, and it's a thriller that takes place in the Westfjord region of Iceland, which is where I'm from. Satu Rämö lives there, or at least he used to live there. This has been like translated, I think, also to English. There is a Finnish TV series either already been aired or is on its way to be aired. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's what I have going on at the moment. But yes, sorry that this video is so long. I'm gonna really try to do them more often so that they will not be as long. But hopefully weekly updates. We'll see. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books or what you thought of them, or if you would be interested in reading any of these books. You need to read Cranford for sure, and Oliver Twist, obviously. See you later. Bye.